Okay, so in this video, I'm going to teach you 4 steps to skipping success. It's really easy to skip well when you know how, but we have to start at the beginning. Let's start with step 1. Step 1, forget about your rope. Being able to skip is not about what you do with your feet so much as what you do with your hands. What I want you to do is just make a skipping action without doing anything with your hands, and try, while you're doing this, just to keep your hands in a very small circular motion. Just practice that for 30 seconds. Step 2. Now the key to this is keeping your hands in a small circular motion when you're moving and keeping tension in the rope. If the rope starts to flap about, skipping becomes very difficult. Step 2, what we do is we begin with 2 bounces to 1 turn of the rope. Let me demonstrate. 2 bounces. This allows me to focus on keeping the rope nice and tense. Step 3, once we've mastered that and we can keep the rope tense, we can now go to 1 bounce to 1 turn. This is much more difficult and will take a lot of time for people to get. Step 3. Now we move on to what a lot of people will refer to or term as the boxer beat, how boxers will skip. And what we tend to do, there's many variations of this, what we tend to do is 2 bounces on 1 foot, then we switch weight, 2 bounces on the other foot. There's a couple of key things to this though. You don't want to be leaving the ground by about 1 foot. You want to be very close to the ground. And what we should be doing as well is when we pick our feet up, we want to be lifting the knee up rather than lifting the heel up this way. Because what will happen if this happens is when the rope strikes the ground here, it is going to bounce and it's going to catch in my foot, and that's going to make skipping difficult. So if I pick my feet up in front, then this is going to be a little bit easier. But we're going for economy of movement, so don't pick your knees up too high when we're still at this learning stage. Let me demonstrate to you how we do this. So 2 on this foot, 2 on this foot, and the other foot is touching the ground in between, but it's not taking the weight of my body. The weight switches from side to side. So there we have it, 4 steps to skipping success. However, what I do find when we're doing this is that people will try to skip with too much energy to start with. So people want to know how to skip without, just to learn in one go. This is the top tip that I can give you to do this, is just simply set your timer for 10 minutes and just skip for 10 minutes. You will trip over the rope 100 times, but keep skipping and keep skipping, keep skipping. There's a very good reason behind this. While you're still bouncing around, this rope can jerk about. And what you'll find is that you can only learn to skip when you're knackered. It only seems to work that way. So when you're absolutely exhausted, your feet will be leaving the ground by this much instead of this much. Now, if you keep doing sort of a minute here and a minute there, you'll have too much energy. So really, you want to be completely and utterly exhausted when you're skipping, so you're just able to leave the ground by a very small amount like this. And that's only going to work when you're really tired. So 10 minutes seems like a long time, but trust me, just go 10 minutes straight out. Now I'm going to give you a couple of other tips as to how we can vary skipping, and a couple of other tricks that we can do. Really basic stuff, nothing too fancy, so that you can impress your mates if you want to. One thing people love to be able to do is to cross their arms over like this, and then to have the rope go around the side like this as well. I'll show you how you do this. It's really straightforward, and the key to it is just doing something with your arms, but your feet keep doing the same thing. So what I'm going to do is when the rope comes over the top, I'm going to cross my arms. Notice this thing at the same level. So I go cross, switch, switch. Simple as that. You can go to the other side if you want, but that's how you do it. Cross, switch, switch. Do it with me without doing it with a rope, first with your hands. Cross, switch, switch. Keep your hands level. Now, just do that after you've done the boxer beat, and just start into it whenever you're ready. Cross, switch, switch, and carry on like that. Another little trick that people will do sometimes is they lift their feet and kind of seem to have a bit of a mess about. Let me show you pretty much how this is done. Very straightforward. You're going to pick your feet up like this, and occasionally like this, and occasionally just kick them out in front. Heel, toe, up, like that. Straightforward thing, but it actually looks quite fancy. If you want, you can do a little heel flick, kick your bum in there as well. It looks pretty good. The reason we do it in boxing is pretty much because skipping is boring, and we do stuff because we get bored, so it works. What you really want to know though is a decent trick which is actually useful for boxing. And this is a good trick that was shown to me probably 30 years ago, thereabouts, and I'm going to share this one with you now. Now, when you're boxing, if you're in the center of the ring, you're not going to take more than about 3, maybe 4 steps before someone's at the ropes. So then you're going to throw a burst of punches. You won't go back, and you won't go sideways more than 3 steps. So we're going to use this in a more specific drill. I'm going to go forwards 3 steps, backwards 3 steps, sideways, and then back to the center 3 steps. And then I do a double jump with the rope. And this simulates a little bit of a burst of punching. Bit of movement, bit of a burst of punching. It's actually not a bad drill for boxers, and it just raises the heart rate just that little bit. So, not too far from the wall. We'll start off in the boxer beat, and then I go 1, 2, 3 forward, 1, 2, 3 back, out of shot, possibly now with 3, and then back to the middle, and repeat. There you have it. That one works, and it's pretty good. After a couple of minutes, you will start to feel it. Try it, have a play with it, but don't forget to start at the beginning first and master each step as you go. Hands more important than feet. Get that right. Good luck, guys. It's a fantastic drill.